Hey, third grade, this is math video number 2 for this week, and it's the last video for this week in Math Lab. And we're going to be working in your packet that was called the fractions packet. Okay, so if you don't have that, I need you to pause the video, go grab your fraction packet with a pencil. So go do that now. Okay. I hope you have your fraction packet now, and we will go ahead and get started. Now, I want to talk a little bit about fractions before we start our fraction work. Okay? Something that you need to know about fractions is they have 3 parts. They have a numerator, they have a fraction bar, and I already have the fraction bar right here, and they have a denominator. Now, the numerator is the top number, and the denominator is the bottom number. Let me give these a little bit of a circle here. And so some people remember numerator and denominator by remembering the N on numerator might remind them of north, and north is up. Okay? And then the D on denominator might remind them of down. Now, there's another way that people remember these two. Okay, they remember it with their body, and they say, okay, my numerator is on top, and I can nod it. So N starts with, or nod starts with N, and so does numerator. Or it doesn't start with N, but it has the N sound. Okay, so I'm going to nod my head. Okay, numerator. Okay, and then the bottom one reminds them of the word dance, and you can dance your denominator, which would be the bottom part of you. Okay, so there are different ways that people remember that. Okay, also if you remember it like nod your numerator and dance your denominator, then you can remember that the numerator for a third grader has to be littler than a denominator. Now that's only in the third grade though, because when you get into the fourth grade, you're going to learn something a little bit different. But for the third grade, your numerator is kind of like your head, and your head is smaller than the bottom part of you. So I'm thinking if you're dancing your denominator, that's your big part. If you're nodding your numerator, that's the smaller part. Okay, that was just a funny way that some people have learned those certain things. Okay, so we're going to, I'm just going to place some numbers over here. So let me go ahead and I'll write my numbers in here. And so we could have a fraction that was a 2 on the top and a 5 on the bottom. Now, the way that we pronounce a fraction is we say the number on the top, 2, but the bottom number usually has a TH after it. So we would say 2/5, kind of like you would say 5th grade, 2/5. Now, this is a little bit different. Let's change our numbers here. Okay, so this is a little bit different. Let me come down here and take this one away. If we had, let's say we have a 1 here, and we have a 3 here. Now, we wouldn't say 1/3, would we? Because we don't say that you're in the 3rd grade. So we would say this is 1/3. Okay, kind of like we do our grades. Now, let's grab my eraser, and we're going to try another number here. All right, and here's the tricky one. We don't say 1 second, and we don't say 1 tooth. This fraction is pronounced 1/2. So, because if you have 1 out of 2 pieces, you have half. Okay, so this is going to probably be the trickiest one while we're doing it. Okay, so I want to uncover my page over here, and if you look on your very first page, it's called FA1, and those these letters and numbers right here are written at the bottom of your page. So FA1 is the page that I'm working on right now. All right. So, the way that we find numerators and denominators is that the denominator is your biggest number, or it's the whole thing. All right? And so we remember, it's the big thing. It's the whole thing. So if I were to choose, I'm just going to choose this one right here. These aren't numbered, but you can see which one I'm working on, and you have the same one on your page. That means I would need to count every piece. And so I'm going to keep track of my counting by putting a little dot in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I found my denominator. My denominator is always the whole thing. And then my numerator is how many pieces are shaded. Okay, and I know it's going to be the shaded part because in my instructions up here, it told me that I need to write the fraction for the shaded area. Now, if it had said unshaded, I would have needed to count the things that didn't have color in them. Okay, so let's go to another one. Here we go. So on this one right here, let's count the whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that means I'm talking about 8 whole pieces in here. But how many are shaded out of that 8? Well, all of them except 1. So that means 7. 7 out of 8 are shaded, or 7/8. 3 out of 5 are shaded, or that's pronounced 3/5. Okay, we can even get a lot of things shaded. So let's count this one right here. We're going to find the denominator first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so that means there were 12 pieces in the whole thing. Now, how many are shaded in those 12? That was easy. There were just 2. And so my numerator is 2. My denominator is 12, or I can say 2 out of 12 are shaded. And to pronounce this fraction, I would say 2/12. Okay. So let's go. We're going to do another line here. So draw your fraction bar and let's count the pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pieces in the whole thing. Remember to put that always as your denominator because it's the big thing. It's the big part that you dance if you're going to dance your denominator. And all but one piece is shaded. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 6 are shaded, or 5/6. Okay. You have to put that TH on there, almost like you're spitting on somebody. 5/6. Okay, it's kind of weird. All right, so this is a little teeny one, but you can see it better on your paper. So let's count the pieces and figure out what the whole thing is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Wow. There's another one that had 12 whole pieces and only 1 is shaded. And that's called 1/12, or 1 out of 12 shaded. Let's count the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another 8. Only this one is a circle. So I put my denominator as 8 because it's the whole thing. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are shaded. So this fraction is 6/8, or 6 out of 8 are shaded. All right, now there's a lot left to do on this page, but what I'm going to do is ask you to pause the video, and I want you to fill out the rest of this page and then come back and we'll check our answers together. Okay, so right now I'm going to switch to a blank page, and now it's time for you to pause the video and do that work. I'll meet you back here in just a few minutes. All right, are you ready to get started again? Have you done all your problems? Let's go back and look at them now. Okay, we did the first 2 rows, and look at all the answers here. So we're going to go through, and I'm just going to say the answers. Okay, so this was 1/3, 10/12, 11/12, 4/12, 1/8, 7/12, 3/4, 4/6, 5/12, 3/8, 1/5, 9/12, 1/6, 6/12, and I wanted you to notice, look, just half of that is filled in. So I put or 1/2. So 6/12 and 1/2 equal the same thing. 1/4 for this triangle, then 2/5, 2/8, and 2/4. All right. Now, one more thing that I want you to notice about fractions is that each piece of a fraction has to be exactly the same size. So all fractions have equal pieces. So if I were to take a shape, and let me draw a shape down here, and I were to divide this shape up, and let me go ahead and pick up, and I were to divide it like this and like this, okay? And there were 3 pieces here. I couldn't call these pieces thirds. Well, because they're not equal. So this could not represent a fraction. So fractions have to have equal pieces. They have to have a numerator, a fraction bar, and a denominator. And one more thing before you leave, I'm going to circle the problems. I'm going to circle them in yellow, I think. I'm going to circle the problems that have a 1 on the top of them. They have a special name. Here's another one. That was 1/12, 1/3, 1/8, 1/5, 1/6, 1/4. Okay. Do you see any more? Oh, 1/2. All right. If you ever see a fraction that has a 1 on the top of it, it's called a unit fraction. And unit fractions are put together to make the big fractions. So, for instance, it took 1/12 plus 1/12 here to make 2/12. Or it took 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 to make, not third, it took 1/5 plus 1/5 plus 1/5 to make 3/5. Sorry about that mistake, okay? Or right here, it took 1/12 plus 1/12 plus 1/12 plus 1/12 to make 4/12. And those are just called unit fractions when they have a 1 on top. Now, if you'll notice, you have another page right behind this one called FA2. If you'd like, you can solve that page and you can have your parent check it, or if your parent would like to text me or email me, I can send them a picture of the answer page if they like, but it's pretty simple to grade. Hope you had a good time, and I will see you next week on our next set of videos. And I'll talk to you later then. Bye-bye.